Good afternoon, everybody, or evening. Um, Thank you for joining Doug and me on this cold Sunday. We're back at it with the podcast. Thank you to everybody that was reaching out, wondering when the next one was coming up. Uh, Doug was in nice warm weather for a week, and he's been back and hitting a lot of games since he
Yeah,
basically flew home, landed, and right to Brookdale on Sunday.
yeah,
And
yep.
we both had a busy day yesterday. So, Doug, welcome back.
Thanks. It's good to be back and good to be back in the gym. And again, I apologize if my screen here is really skinny. I try to make myself look thin, so I kind of narrow myself down, but can't figure out how to make it wider.
Yeah, we'll figure that out, and we'll figure out that background thing that I toyed around with. That'll be
Yeah.
fun.
Next week we're going to be doing remote from San Francisco.
Yes, we'll be in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Um, Busy week this week, you know, with the shortened schedule, well, calendar, games on Sundays, events on Sundays, and Doug, I'm gonna let you kick it off. You were at Brookdale all day on Sunday, saw a couple good games, couple blowouts probably, and just go through Sunday. How was the hoop group? Sure, I don't know what it was called, but I know
It
hoop
was
group
the
ran it.
Hoop Group Boardwalk Showcase.
Okay.
It was there was one matchup of short teams. That was the first game. It was Trinity Hall and RBR. Trinity Hall took the win. The game wasn't really close all game. Trinity led from start to finish. Uh, Again, Nina Emnis is just showing that she's one of the top 5, 6 players in the shore. The way she's been playing, she had 17 points, and the Stapleton sisters, Siobhan and Neve, both had big games. Josie Munson had 11 for RBR, but Trinity really, it was never in doubt, the game. Um, but it was good to see two short teams playing each other because the other three teams were ranked short teams against ranked out of short teams from the state. So I guess that was the kickoff show, and good to see both of those teams. I haven't seen them yet this year. Truhan was busting my chops about being MIA, but that's all
Yeah,
right.
he was
Uh,
busting my chops while I was at work, wondering why I wasn't there. So,
yeah. Well, I was there and he was busting my chops, so that's all right. Equal opportunity chop buster.
yeah.
The second game though, second game was RBC and New Providence, and I hadn't seen New Providence. I know they beat St. Rose earlier in the year. Um, they were a top 10 to 12 ranked team in the state. Always a Group Two contender. So I was excited to see them, but RBC really um, they beat them pretty good. And I know we've been talking early in the season, our first podcast about uh, RBC loaded with freshmen this year, and a lot of them came in with hype, and but they had a lot of kids coming back, 5 returning players at start, and you could see Coach Montano. He's not afraid to go to those freshmen quickly, and whereas in the past, I think he had a short lease with some freshmen. Um, if seem to be in doubt, he goes right to the freshmen, which is incredible. It says a lot about their talent. And you can see a difference when they're on the court. Their energy, they play with confidence. They're in sync with each other. And Katie Liggio had 13 points. She led the team in scoring. Casey Pryor at 12 was one of the veterans. Hit a couple 3-pointers, and Tessa Carmen had 14 rebounds. But I think the big story with RBC and the big story going forward with RBC will be how long he stays with the upperclassmen um, coming down the stretch. And I really don't see him being afraid to go right to the freshmen, mixing them in or going 5 in, 5 out like he did in this showcase. But um, yeah, that's a little bit different look for RBC.
Yeah, just before you get to the next game, the WOBM finals, Massachusetts got out to a 13-7 lead. He put the freshman in, he subbed 5 freshmen in, and before you know it, it was 22-15 RBC. And like you said, they're in sync. They're running up and down the court.
Yeah.
Take fast breaks. Four of them are touching the ball on a fast break. I said to somebody, I thought I was watching the Lakers from the '80s. The way they
It
were getting up and down the court.
it's like watching a veteran team. Kids
Yeah,
have been playing with each other for 4 years and they haven't. So
yeah,
it's refreshing to see. And again, Coach Montano being a veteran, I'm sure he's thinking at some point there might be a little bit of lull or maybe a little bit of
yeah,
intimidation from the freshmen. But as of right now, he's getting as much experience as he can because going down the stretch, I really don't think he's going to be afraid to put them all in.
yeah. I was at work today. I'm gonna try to at least watch some of the game. Curious, what the rotation looked like against Long Island Lutheran today. Um, so, but until I see that, I can't really speak on that. But they're gonna be fun, and only freshmen. They're only gonna get better.
Yeah, definitely. Third game, number one, St. John Vianney against top 10 Gill St. Bernard. And Gill's a good team. Heard a lot about them. I saw them play last year. Great coach, and he was getting frustrated. It was a sloppy game, to be honest with you. I think Dawn will be the first one to tell you. They had a lot of unforced turnovers. Didn't look like they were in sync. A couple missed easy shots early. Um, and but when things got rough, of course, Zoe Brooks stepped up in the second half, and I think she had 12 or 15 of her 21 in the second half. And that's something that's so clutch to lean on when you're not playing well and you have a leader like that to fall back on that's just going to take over the game. And it was I was expecting a good game. Like I said, it was a little sloppy, but coming off a big win over Life Center and then
Yeah.
looking forward to playing number one in the country, Lou High next week. It's kind of one of those things they call in the NFL a trap game,
Hmm.
where you might be thinking ahead. You just came off a nice win. You got two bad conference games in between there, and so it's expected. I mean, you're number one. You're not going to be without fault all year. There's going to be times when you're down, but when you have players like Zoe Brooks that can step up and Julia Carpel hit a big three and a lot of defense inside, but it's just nice to have all that talent that at some point somebody's going to step up and take over the game.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the Long Island Lutheran, but same thing with Zoe Brooks in that game. Just took over. I'll wait to that. Then we talk about that game. But
Yeah,
yeah, nobody. They're clearly on the way of not being touched again in the state of New Jersey. So
yeah, I'd say that's probably true. Um, and we'll talk about the difference between what their game against Lou High and today's Lou High RBC game.
yeah,
I know you want to touch on that later, but
yeah,
um, it's just night and day between one and two.
yeah.
Um, the closing event of that showcase was St. Rose and Chatham. Chatham, another good team, well coached, a lot of
Oh,
talent on that team.
always in contention for sectionals.
Yep. Uh, so I think it's safe to say, after watching that game last week, watching the game at the State and the Shore for a cure yesterday, that Jada Lynch is becoming a star in front of everybody's eyes.
Hmm.
I know she came into the season with a lot of hype, and hey, she's a freshman. Is she going to be intimidated? Is she going to play passively? She has done neither. She's taking over games for that team, and I'm not afraid to say I think in a couple of games I've seen her, she's been the best player on the floor, and I think we said that yesterday.
Yeah.
Um, and she had 24 against Chatham, MVP of the game. Um, she plays from inside out. You stick a guard on her, she takes her to the hole. You stick a big on her, she takes her outside. She's she's just that talented where you can't really match up a big on her because she's a big kid inside. You can't put a guard on her, she's taking her to the hole. It's really I mean I love watching her play. It's for a freshman and my wife was at the game yesterday. She knows basketball, but we had a conversation. I know she kept looking over at us going, "Are you guys sure she's a freshman?
Yeah.
Like, I just does not
Yeah.
look like
How
a
many times did
freshman."
she ask us
She
yesterday?
she does not look like a freshman. She doesn't. She doesn't
I
play
think
like
she
one
was
either.
asking Brian a couple of times. Are
Yeah,
you
so
sure?
she went there. Are you sure she's 14 years old? Like, yeah, it's her dad.
Yeah.
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 So, but yeah, and of course, you're going to get Steady Eddie, Maggie Kavanaugh, and Rosie,
Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
and
Julia.
yeah, Julia. Oh, Julia's been playing well too.
Yeah.
Um, that team is and watching teams, St. Rose teams in the past, you always watch, there might have been a little jealousy on the court or a little, somebody always trying to take over. This team plays like a team. I mean, they're
Yeah.
like a well-oiled machine.
Mm.
The passing was great, the talking on defense, the connecting on defense. It was fun to watch it, and it was a nice win over Chatham last week.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, you went to what was it? Central and
Lacey,
Lacey. Yeah.
yeah,
Lacey's struggling this year.
yeah, they're struggling record-wise. They're struggling. They have a new coach,
Paget.
uh, Dawn Paget, Dawn
Yep.
Dicton, from when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Um, Great athlete in high school, and she looks like she's getting the team to play hard.
Hmm.
Um, and they have some talent. Riley Mahan had 15 or 17 points that game. Played a great game offensively. Had a couple block shots. Central, as we know, is leading B South right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Coach Torciello is doing a good job with that
Yeah.
team. They've got a
They're
big front court.
they're 5-0
Uh,
in the division.
Yeah. So I thought that would be a good game to go to. I know Lacey's a pretty athletic team, and I wanted to see, Central. I know we saw them in the OVM tournament, but they seem to have gotten better. And it was a back and forth game, pretty close. Um, Central kind of got out to a lead in the third quarter. Mahan hit a three at the buzzer, and then Lacey went on a 10-0 run to start the fourth quarter, go up 8. And that was sparked by Dawn's daughter, Reese, a
Yep.
sophomore,
Yeah.
and a
She
freshman.
she's long too, Reese. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
very athletic. And Brooklyn Bell, whose sister Maddie played
just graduated.
last year. Yep. And she's gonna. I'm telling you right now, watch. You talk about all the freshmen on St.
Uh,
Rose and RBC. This kid's gonna be good. She is very tough. And those two, their defense kind of sparked Lacey back into the game to take the lead. But we talked about Central's front line. I mean, they got 3 big kids in there, and their size, their height kind of wore Lacey down at the end. Uh, I think Caitlin DeMichael had 14 or 18 rebounds that game. Her sister Kelsey had a couple of key steals towards the end of the game, and Riley Coltonback scored a couple of big baskets. So I think Lacey will improve as the season goes on, but right now Central's the team to beat in that. And I think yesterday they lost to Point Borough, which was kind of a bit of a shocker. Um, that
Looking.
was a good game. It was a little slow first half, but it got exciting towards the end.
Um, before we talk about shore and ocean, just I want to touch on that division. Obviously we saw Devin Quigley play yesterday, but we both picked Barnegat, I think, on top of that division, right? I think I
Yeah, I
did.
definitely didn't pick Central, so I
Yeah.
know that.
And
So
they're
yeah,
5-0, and Manchester's right behind them, 4 and
right.
1.
And I think
Um,
Manchester had a win over Barnegat this week. Pretty sizable win over Barnegat too. So
yes.
um,
So it's just interesting, and Barnegat and Lacey are both 2 and 3. In the
yeah,
division, it's probably too much ground to
to make up,
catch. Yeah, it looks like it'd be Manchester and Central
right.
um in that division, but which is, I think, we both had those teams in the middle towards the bottom.
Yeah, I think we had 3 and 4 or
Yeah, I
something
think we
like
had
that.
we had Brick up top, and they're only 1 and 3.
Yeah,
You know,
and
they're not.
they're kind of towards the bottom, having a little bit of a rough season.
So
Um, but I mean, we just mentioned Devin Quigley. When you have a player averaging about 40 a game, you're going to be in a lot of games.
yeah.
So
Big game on Thursday. Number 6 Ocean traveled around the corner and to play number 10 Shore Regional, and Shore coming off that, you can call it upset loss to Monmouth Regional. Um, Monmouth Regional's playing good. Coach Forbes is a great coach.
Hmm.
Shore had the lead in the fourth, blew it. Monmouth capitalized, got the victory, which set up an undefeated Ocean in the division and against a one-loss Shore Regional. And Riley Drehos um, has started her season, I would say, on Thursday, and she did
Yeah.
what we've been waiting. She took over. She really hasn't had to do that. Her teammates have been very good, pretty good this season and doing the job, getting the wins, and the big stage. She took over the team when the team needed it, and you could just see the smile in her face. Looks like very relieved, and she couldn't miss.
No. It's like I know when we walked in the gym, you get that like big game feel. Like the
Yeah, it
atmosphere is
was.
great. The stands were packed.
Yes.
Uh, a
Yes,
lot
we
of people.
thought we were good in the corner by
Yeah,
and we were
we got squeezed in a little
yeah,
bit,
yeah,
and there was a lot of people on the other side behind the shore benches. They couldn't fit
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
on the other side, but you got that
Big game.
like big game feel when you walked into that really small gym in West Long Branch, and it was a close game throughout.
Yeah.
Ocean had the lead, Shore had the lead, um, and Riley, admittedly struggling with her shot this year, as she's told you,
Hmm.
and but with the game on the line and the big game atmosphere, the big players showed up.
Yeah. Yeah. And Ocean played good. I think in the first half a little when Benton got her second foul, kind of
Yeah,
they had to change their game plan a little because they wanted to try to use the advantage of her height. Um, Clark, who we picked last week as the C South. Um, she did a pretty good job. Janine
mm-hmm.
did a good job. They just, couldn't finish that
they
game.
they they move the ball very well. They
Oh,
pass the ball very, very, very unselfish team.
yeah.
But you mentioned Benton picking up her second foul. Probably 3:45 left in the first
Yeah.
quarter.
And they were both
Uh,
offensive fouls too.
yes, yep. And
Yeah.
Coach Lazor went to the bench, and I was kind of surprised she didn't play the rest of the half.
Mhm.
Um, that's a long time to sit out. Shore kind of hung around.
Yeah.
They had trouble matching up with her size early in the game.
Hmm.
I thought there would be trouble going forward, but she sat out a long stretch in the first half. The whole second quarter, half of the first quarter,
Hmm.
she came back in the third. They went back to her. She was scoring again. Um, but I think that allowed Shore to stay close.
Hmm.
In the fourth quarter, we talked about Drejos hitting big shots, but the freshman,
Oh,
Coyle hit a
that
big
started
shot, big three.
started the 8-2 run.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Shore took advantage of Ocean going man to man
On
in
that
the
one
fourth
play. Yeah.
quarter.
Yeah.
They were going zone. Shore had trouble penetrating. They couldn't
Hmm.
really move the ball well around the outside.
Hmm.
You could see there was a little hesitation in their offensive game. Ocean went man to man, and it's like Shore was like, "Whoa, thank you," and kind of started moving the ball, skipping the ball. Coyle hits that big shot from the corner.
Hmm.
Drejos hits a couple deep threes, and it's a different game.
Yeah. And, you know, Coyle, tiny girl, no fear though. She took two threes, kind of just, they were close. Sometimes you see freshmen clam up, don't want to take that shot, but she
Right.
fired it, and that was it. That started it, and Riley was able to take them home the rest of the way.
Yep.
So,
And Coach Wishart, as her being the only sub in the game, is
hmm,
showing that he has confidence in her.
yeah,
So that's obviously got to help her. She also has the bloodlines,
yeah,
shore conference basketball. So no fear though. You're right. She took a couple threes that were close, and then I think it might have been Fury threw that skip pass across her. She did not hesitate. Bang,
yeah,
and that turned the whole tide of the game.
yeah. And Reese has been playing pretty good this season.
Mm-hmm.
She was leading the team in scoring up until this weekend, but we'll talk about Saturday. She had a monster game Saturday, but she's taking a nice jump. Usually we see big jumps sophomore to junior year, but she's
Right.
taking that nice jump from freshman to sophomore year. She looks like she's playing with more confidence. And she looks so much better out there this
Yep.
season. You
And I
know,
think I read a quote from her somewhere. She said she knew she had to take some pressure off of Riley and needed to step up. And you're right, she stepped up in a big way so far this year.
yeah, yeah. So it's interesting that division. 4-1, 4-1, and 4-1.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, bad
Each with
news.
a win over each other also. So
Yes, it makes it
yeah,
tougher.
yeah, yep.
Unfortunately, bad news out of Monmouth. Their star player injured and is going to be out for the rest of the season, which is
It's a
unfortunate
shame.
because
Yeah,
Mia Love, she sat up. She was out last year,
yeah.
so they're probably not going to be able to compete with those two teams now
Maintain.
with her.
Yeah, because they've been
Yes,
playing very well.
yeah, yeah. Then it's Friday, big day. Number one, Long Island Lutheran came to Homedale to play St. John Vianney. I didn't go to the game. I streamed the game. I was giving updates. I did a little write up, but
Yeah, I had a Christmas party two
yeah,
weeks later, 3 weeks later. So I apologize.
yeah. This is back-to-back years. Dawn playing the number one team in the
Yep,
country. They played Sidwell, fell just short last year.
yep.
Um, but this year, different story. They got out to a little lead. Then Long Island Lutheran took advantage, a lot of turnovers in the first half by St. John Vianney. And they weren't really forced turnovers. They were just some bad passes
Hmm.
getting thrown out of bounds and only one rebound in the first quarter, which is when was the last time you could probably say that for St. John Vianney?
Right.
And Long Island Lutheran was able to go on a 10-0 run, get the lead, and then typical St. John Vianney fashion, they come out to third. I think Long Island Lutheran had five quick turnovers. I think they had two in the first 30 seconds. 9-0 run for St. John Vianney. Got the lead. Again, they ended the quarter with some bad turnovers. I think my count, I had 26 turnovers, Long Island Lutheran 25 for St. John Vianney, probably
Wow.
double what
Hmm.
you usually see. And Long Island Lutheran had the lead going into the fourth, and then Parpell hit a big three, and that was kind of it. Once that three went in, that was kind of it. And Zoe nailing all her foul shots, in,
Yep.
in the fourth, scored 18 of her game high 30 in the second half. And what the most fascinating part is all inside, no threes, and she scored 30. So that just tells you, her control, able to get to the hoop, and she was able to do whatever she wanted. In my
Yeah.
opinion, and Long Island Lutheran, they got some size inside, but typical St. John Vianney, they're interesting where they move up in the national rankings.
Yep.
Um, lost my
Zoe's shown that, since her freshman year, um, at TCA, I believe she's a TCA, right?
yes,
Um,
freshman year.
and she's shown such body control. You know, she's not a small kid. She's a big kid, and she goes to the basket. She takes contact. Doesn't seem to bother her. She gets to the line, gets her free
Oh,
throws, and you mentioned the turnovers. You kind of, like I said before, you're number one in the state. You're number nine in the country. You're going to have games where you're not playing well. That gym, again, big time atmosphere. Kids
oh,
white out in
great,
the
great job by the students.
gym. Uh, um, huge turnout. I think they were turning people away at the door. But the nerves do hit you a little bit. It doesn't matter if you're number one in the state. You're
Yeah,
playing number one in the country. The
yeah,
nerves are going to hit you a little bit. It's going to take a little feeling out process. You're not used to playing against a team with that much size and as much size as you have. at
Hmm.
least. You're used to having the
Big.
two or three tallest kids on the court. So it's a feeling out process. And Dawn knows that. And Dawn knew she'd have to make adjustments, and she did, as she always does. She pulls the right strings and gets them playing, makes the right subs at the right time. And you know, whether people gave them a chance against Lou High or not, I don't know. I don't know how many people have seen Lou High play. But I never doubted that they'd have a chance. Um, and like you said, just they came out in the second half and just dominated them.
Yeah, I was texting with Luis Torres at NJ.com, and they were down two at half, and I said they're probably thrilled with the amount of turnovers and poorly they were rebounding in the first half. I just want to say, big Bree Delaney, she
Mm-hmm.
hit a big three to stop the 10-0 run, and she grabbed an offensive rebound in the second quarter, which was their second rebound. So just typical Saint, their players knowing what their role is, knowing when it's their turn to step up. And that's pivotal. 10-0 run, she knocks down the big three and then, grabs an offensive rebound a couple possessions later. Just
Yeah, she doesn't get a lot of credit
no.
from people outside of her school, her own program, and people that play against her. People that play against her know she's a tough kid. She throws her body on the ground. She takes charges.
Yeah.
She's willing to do the dirty work for
Mhm.
that team. And there's always got to be somebody on your team that's willing to do
Yeah.
the dirty work. And she does not get enough credit for the way she plays.
Yeah, and Janine, in the second half, was pulling down rebounds. Ashley had two big blocks in the fourth quarter. It's just, it's what they do. Everyone
It's a
steps
team
up and they
team
all know their
victory.
role. Yep.
Yeah.
There's something else. Well, curious, when was the last time a New Jersey team beat a number one team in the country? I'm kind of curious
Okay.
about
So I know last year you said they lost to Sidwell, a
this.
close
Yeah.
game. I know Morgan's sophomore year in the showcase at Jefferson University in Philly. Manchester was lucky enough to play number one in the country at that point. Bishop McDonough from DC area, and they kind of smoked us. So that's three times I know of that a short team has played the number one team
In the country.
in the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
The last time I don't know, have they ever beaten one before? This might be the first time.
I don't know.
Okay, hold
Yeah.
on. Let's say at some point, Christ the King had to be ranked number one in the country. And while they were ranked number one, if anybody would have beaten them from the shore, it would have been St. John Vianney because
Yeah.
they played
Yeah, in the
home,
90s.
that home,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
home and
Yeah.
away. And
Yeah.
some of those Christ the King teams were stacked. But I will have to ask Dawn that question if they
Yeah.
ever did defeat them when they were number
Yeah.
one.
Or I'll reach out to Brian, even though he's not on or Greg Lerner might know.
Yeah. Oh, Greg would
Yeah,
definitely know.
yeah, that would be that. But congratulations to St. John Vianney on that accomplishment. And now they have two more out of state games. They got a team from Connecticut tomorrow, and then they got Christ the King, the last game of the regular season.
Yeah. It's a shame they don't have another week or so that the NJSIA cut out of the schedule to play somebody else. But well, that's another discussion for another time.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a shame the no PowerPoints for these games.
Right.
No.
But I mean, when you're number one in the state
Yeah,
in
they're probably the
PowerPoints aren't
only
really
team
going
that
to, yeah.
doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think Dawn cares about PowerPoints. She doesn't
Yeah.
care if she's the 1 seed or 10 seed. It
No.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah. So that was Friday. Uh, there's a lot. There was a bunch of games else going Friday, but Saturday was an interesting game at Donovan Catholic and
Hmm.
around the shore. So it opened up Marlboro versus Middletown North, and
Hmm.
Middletown North very young
Yeah.
team,
Yep.
and Marlboro a veteran team with Castro and Erica. Um, but Castro was feeling it.
Yeah.
She got hot, and Erica's ability to spin and get to the hoop was so impressive. Um,
Yeah.
yesterday, and can't believe 4 years. She's been playing. She's been on the court since she was a freshman there.
I think I said to you yesterday, how long has she been at Marlboro? It seems like you know, for people that follow North Carolina basketball back in the '80s, like Jeff Lebo felt he was there for 20 years. You know, but yeah, we talked to Justin and Coach Davina before the game, and they said that they knew this game would probably be a little bit of a struggle. They have a lot of multi-sport athletes,
Mhm.
and a lot of kids that pick up a basketball at Thanksgiving and drop the basketball at the end of March.
Mhm.
It's hard to compete when you do that,
Mhm.
especially against a veteran team and a well-coached team. Coach
Yeah.
Higginson always has the team ready to play.
Yeah.
Um, but you could see the athleticism of Middletown North.
Yeah.
And with Justin and Bob, two great coaches, they're going to get the most out of them.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe down the road next year they'll be ready to play and compete in some games.
Yeah. Size kind of hurt them.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
like you said, Eric will position herself at the foul line every time, make a couple spin moves to the basket. She'd either score or dish it,
yeah,
and that's tough to compete with when you got a veteran like that.
14-7 Giants.
They're gonna lose.
Um, so and they Glenn doing a great job. Castro had 18 points, one player of the game for,
Yep.
and McCarthy one play. Emily, right? I think Emily McCarthy
Yeah.
one player
Mm-hmm.
again for Middletown North. Next game
Yeah.
was Heightstown versus Colts Neck. Heightstown out of short team, but real nice guard. What's her first name?
Kayla
Kayla.
Glasser Hyman. First time we got
She
to
was
see her play. Oh,
she's a fighter too because
yeah.
she was getting they were throwing everything at her and she
Mm-hmm.
still what did she finish with? You probably do you have that?
27.
27.
27. Yeah.
And she had to work for those 27
She
points.
she came out with a couple bruises after that
Yeah.
game, I'm sure, but
Yes.
a tough kid. And then you got the big girl,
Mister.
Missier,
Mason.
yeah,
Yeah.
inside. She's about 6'4",
Yeah,
solid 6'4",
yeah.
and she was cleaning the glass at about 13 rebounds. And Colts Neck was just outmatched size wise, and you could tell Coach Russo was getting a little frustrated with his team. They were taking some bad shots. They were
Mm-hmm.
turning the ball over early in a game where I think early on, if they could have kept it a little closer, maybe down the stretch, he's
It's a
such a great
different.
coach. He would have figured something out to do. But I don't think he was happy with the way his team played yesterday.
Yeah, it was tough and yeah, I mean they tried like you said, she probably had some black and blues, Kyla.
Mm,
You know,
yeah,
I mean they were literally on her from the second. If they made a basket, they were already on her. But two bodies
yeah,
on her before the Heightstown could grab the ball to throw it in. So, but good performance by her. I know not a short kid, but she played great, and
yeah.
going to Westchester um, for college to play. So,
And I know,
I'm,
I know, we predominantly follow short kids, but it's nice to see a kid play you've heard about for a while, and you get to see them play, and they're actually as good as what
what
people
they
have
live
said
up
they
to.
show. Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
there's a lot of times we see people hyped up, and then we go there and
And you're like, wow, they wouldn't
wow,
last in the shore.
yeah,
They get their
yeah,
butt kicked. But this
so
kid was good. Yeah, very,
yeah,
very legit guard.
yeah. She won MVP in Savannah. Did
Savannah
Savannah win?
Bucks.
She, she,
But yeah, I believe Savannah was the MVP for
yeah,
Colts Neck.
Colts now.
Yeah.
The next game, very fun game, very
Yeah.
fun. Shore Regional against Manchester, and Will threw everything he could at Devin, and Devin still had 47, but that was probably one of the most. You saw how frustrated she was. It probably wasn't. It definitely wasn't her easiest 47, and she missed a bunch of shots she usually doesn't miss. But and
Mm-hmm.
then again, you're looking down, all of a sudden she's pulling up a foot inside half court and swishing a three
Just
pointer.
yeah.
She is just an amazing, amazing talent, and we sometimes forget her and Nina are only juniors, so we still got one more
Yeah,
year getting to watch those two.
it's
With that.
you say 47 points, you look up and you're like, wow, maybe she not doesn't have that many points this game, and oh my, you look up and you're like, dude, she had 21 points in the fourth quarter as Shore stretching the game out.
Yeah.
That happened, besides she had 16 rebounds,
Yeah.
4 steals. She and you know what? She tries to get her teammates involved.
Yeah.
She, but Will, of course, showing why he's one of the better coaches in the Shore, give the ball up, try not to let her get the ball back.
Yeah.
All early on, they double team. They got a couple turnovers out of
Yeah.
that, and then I think Devin was like, "All right, forget it. I'm just gonna try to, and she's 47 points. But then it was like you got this two heavyweight fight, right? You
Mm-hmm.
got on one side, you got Drejos on the other side, and sure as crap, this matchup ended up being exactly what you thought it would be.
Yeah.
Drejos goes for 30, 17 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals.
Seven
Quickly,
assists. She had
47 points, 7 assists, almost
Yeah.
triple double.
Yeah.
47 points and 17 rebounds, and then factor, Fury has the best game of the year.
Yeah. 25 points.
25 points, and hitting big shot after big shot in the second half.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see that, you get two players that are as good as these two, and it actually lived up to the billing you thought it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then Reese steps up and
Yeah.
25 points.
Yeah.
Just it was an incredible game. It really was an exciting game to watch.
Yeah. Thank you, Glenn, for putting that together. And
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
for sure, Connolly started the game off for them, hit
Yeah.
two threes, to start them off.
She got
And
into a
then
little foul trouble after that.
yeah, yeah. Which kind of hurt them, because she's good defensively too. With
Right.
one of the bigger, taller girls on the team. Um, but and they went to Ava early, and big, but Ava was like a gnat on Devin too.
Yes. Yes.
She was a
Yep.
pet, like a pesky little gnat. So,
That was the thing too.
but
Will kept throwing different players at her,
mhm,
whether it was one or two or three,
yeah,
just trying to throw her off anything. She'd miss a shot but get her own rebound, put her right back up. I mean, listen, you're averaging 40 points a game. You're a player. I don't care what anybody says,
yeah,
and I don't care what anybody says. Oh, she's a one-man show. She's this, she's that. No, she's a good basketball player.
yeah. And that whole one man show. One of her teammates hit a three earlier, and
Mm-hmm.
Davin was more excited
Yep.
that girl hit then. And you love to see that, because when you look at the stat, oh, this girl, she probably doesn't pass the ball, but no, she was literally excited. Almost gave a jump up. Was so happy when I went for So, and that's great to see. And down the stretch, it's going to give the other girls more confidence,
Yes.
and give her a little more help where she might only need to score 40.
And I know nobody keeps track of amount of shots taken, but
Yeah.
there's some girls that take 30, 35 shots to get to their 20. Her shots, like, she's so efficient with her shots.
No,
She doesn't miss many. She
no,
doesn't take an overabundance of shots. She gets to the
yeah,
rim. Most of her
yes,
shots are layups.
yeah,
So you
and
can say what you want. The kid works for her points.
she had one move to the hoop yesterday, like kind of went like underneath. She was. It was good to get to. I saw a little bit of WOBM. It was nice to see a full game out of that, and Manchester. They're surprising. They're right there. B South.
Yep.
So it'll be curious to see how they keep going on. Oh, you just moved? That's it. What's going on there? That's what did um, what was it? Oh, Jackson Holmdel next. So, but Devin and Riley were the players.
Yeah, that lived up to the billing, no
Yeah.
doubt.
Holmdel Jackson, started to look like a blowout in the first half, and then
Mm-hmm.
Chloe Messer just got hot from outside.
Hot.
Mhm.
Yeah. So here, let me just say this before we start talking about the game. Jackson's a great program. Holmdel's a great program. you come into this game. I know Homedale was missing Alexandria yesterday. You expect this to be, hey, Jackson's tough, well coached. Homedale's tough.
Mhm.
They got some players. They got veteran players. This is going to be a good matchup. And I hate when referees
Oh, that first
ruin
half.
a game that should be a good game.
Hmm.
And I'm not gonna go off on referees. I've done it in the past.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But yesterday's referees in this game might have been the worst officiated game I've seen all year.
And the bad part is it was getting dangerous.
Yes,
Like you miss
yes.
a call, you miss travel, whatever, but you gotta protect the player.
There were
And
kids
that
on
the
the
first,
ground,
yeah,
yeah,
and that's
holding their
what
mouth. Yeah,
Rachel even said, like both teams, she at one point, it wasn't just for her. She's like, you guys gotta get control, both ways because
yeah,
it was getting a little, some of it, like you said, people getting banged in the mouth. It was getting
yeah,
a little scary. And the girls are just playing hard.
yeah. They're
Yeah,
doing what they're supposed to do, and if they're not going to call anything, of course
yeah,
they're going to be aggressive.
yeah,
But I don't like that. You go in a game, expect, hey, if this game's well officiated, it's going to be a pretty good game, and not taking anything away from Homedale. They played a
yeah,
heck of a first
yeah,
half, and the fourth quarter they kind of pulled away, but it just stinks when
yeah,
other factors that get involved other than the players and the
yeah,
coaches.
yeah. Yeah. You mentioned Alexandria wasn't there. Allison she was phenomenal with her passing.
Oh, yeah, her
Get
court vision yesterday was
Yeah,
unbelievable.
very good. And they're a team that's getting better as the season gets along. Um, Cannon had a good game. Stoker had
Yep, Stalker had a good game,
she
and
was
Michelle
tough.
Steele.
Yes, Michelle still had a
Yes,
very very
yep,
good game.
yep,
Developing nicely. And a freshman last year, another one
yeah.
making a pretty good jump from to her sophomore year. And Jess did a good job getting her involved.
Hmm.
Now they could get all of them to click at the same time. Allison, and Mackenzie, right? Mackenzie Teven,
Yep.
and Cannon, and then Stoker. Because Stoker's so tough on both ends
Yes.
of the
Yeah. No
floor.
doubt.
They could make a little noise.
Hmm.
And they just they're winning games right now. So
Yeah.
and
And
Jackson, Chloe had a great game. Zoe, I think she only finished with 10, but I think she was sick earlier in the week.
right. And she's been battling
Yeah,
something all
yeah,
year,
yeah.
and so Jackson's been dealt a tough hand with that.
Mm,
But Rachel's not afraid to go play these people and take on these challenges, and she knows she's got one of the better guards on the shore.
mhm.
Chloe played great yesterday. What she had 17, 18 of her 23 in the second half.
Yeah,
Just, I mean, heat check, pulling up 25 feet.
mhm. Yeah. A soccer
Um,
player, a soccer player. Never mind.
yeah, let's see. I love sitting next to Nick at these basketball games. Soccer player,
Soccer,
goalkeeper, Middletown North goalkeeper, cousin of soccer player. I love soccer. I love basketball. And Nick's like, yep, soccer player, soccer
soccer,
player,
soccer, soccer.
soccer player.
And it's funny, Coach Goody, she knows that too. She'll send
Yeah,
me messages. You love your soccer players on the
yeah.
basketball court. Um, One more, with Jackson Memorial, she has one, two, four freshmen that are getting good minutes.
In the
So
rotation. Yep, yep.
um keep developing, and they're, I don't know if it's the eighth grade or seventh grade class in Jackson
It's supposed to be
that's strong.
phenomenal. Yeah,
Yes, that's pretty good. So she's gonna these kids keep developing. They're gonna in another year or two. When these girls are juniors, because she's starting two of them, three of them sometimes.
yeah,
Um, sometimes playing like freshmen, but sometimes Ambrose hit two big threes. I think it was
yeah.
Ambrose to hit. She has a
Ambrose,
nice,
yeah.
nice lefty, little lefty
Hmm.
shot, nice, and couple, bigger, taller girls. So their
You
team,
know,
you
and
expect them to get better as the season. So,
well, they're going to get better because they have a good coach, and
yeah,
and she, the thing I love about Rachel and her program is she is involved from the grassroots up.
Yeah,
She runs little 4 and 5 year old clinics.
my
She
niece did it
goes to
for a
the
couple of years. Yeah,
elementary schools, the middle. She's involved with the middle schools. She wants this program to continue to
yeah.
grow. I mean,
And
she's done a great job there in her, I don't know, 20 years she's been there, but she wants to sustain that.
yeah, she
And
started an AAU program basically for the
mhm,
younger kids, for the fifth, the sixth, seventh graders, just so they could start, develop them because, Jackson has a very strong youth soccer program, but their rec basketball, I just know from experience could be improved.
right, right,
But that's why, she runs so many, the little kids
yeah.
things and
And more coaches should do that. That
yeah,
they should be more involved from the grassroots up because it can only help them
yeah,
as a program.
exactly. The next game was the main event, I guess you could call it.
Featured bout of the
Yeah.
evening.
Number seven in the state, Ewing, and I think St. Rose is 10 at that point. Obviously, that's going to change tomorrow or Tuesday. And it lived up to the hype. Stokes is an amazing player.
Oh,
I talked to
phenomenal player.
I talked to Mary Beth a little bit on Friday, just based off what I saw against the Rumson when Ewing played Rumson.
Mhm.
And, she went, Ewing struggles against the zone, what they did against Rumson at least.
Right.
And she stayed man that whole game. And, she let Stokes do what Stokes was going to do, but she kind of took, I think Johnson, was it Johnson out of the game?
They took Johnson and Durham out of the game, the bigs, and
Yes.
Stokes got hers, Delphos got hers, and but she wasn't going to let the inside girls.
No. And that was a conversation she had. She's like, if I go zone, I'm losing out on the rebounding. And she stayed in the man. And first half, Rosie hit some big shots
Yep.
to keep them in it. Maggie hit a couple shots, but she missed a couple, and you could see Maggie was getting a little hard on herself in the first
Mhm.
half. But
But you know what
Mary,
she did? She buckled down on defense when she wasn't
well,
hitting shots.
which
So
you expect nothing
mhm.
else from Maggie, and she made some great passes, which
Yes,
I
yep.
think she's one of the best passers in the shore.
Mhm.
And then Ewing was leading at halftime by I think five. I think it was
It was
33-28.
33-28 a half.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I
And
guess
lo and behold, who showed up for
Jada
St.
Lynch
Rose?
came out at halftime and just took over, started off with a three, then went inside, and she was getting more and more confident. You saw it, you saw as it was going, and she made some great reads, getting the ball to
Yes. Yep.
Wesper
To the right.
and
Yep.
hitting them in stride, perfect for some backdoor cuts and great performance. And Cassidy hit a couple of free throws down the stretch to
Yeah.
to
Yep.
ice it, which was big. And St. Rose should be, that was a hard fought win, and St. Rose should be, be proud of that.
And Mary Beth started working Decker in. It's her
Yeah,
first game
she
eligible, I
eligible.
believe.
Yeah.
So she started working her into the rotation, but that was a great team win.
Hmm.
As much as we talk about Jada in the second half and Rosie hitting the shot, that they play like a team. You got 5 kids that are playing like that, or 6 kids when you go to bench, 7 kids, they're going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, yeah, and she, ever since Mary Beth's been there, that team's been ready to play on the defensive end, so that keeps them in
Yes.
games itself. So it'll be interesting. You're probably looking at 2-3 seed in the Shore, RBC and St. Rose. Um,
That would be a great matchup.
unless RBC slips up, but I don't see them slipping up
Mhm.
in the Shore. Who do they have? Who do they have down? They're down in Saturday. They're down there. It's the South Jersey.
St. Rose's?
No, RBC.
RBC is?
Because that might be hang on, I got the schedule up.
Yeah.
Lenape. Lenape.
Okay.
Yeah,
They should win that game.
yeah, yeah. So but yeah, that'll be the 2-3. And then the fourth seed, be up in battle between probably Trinity, Manasquan, and Rumson.
Yeah.
So
Uh, you might be able to throw Ocean in there depending how their second game against Shore goes.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, right now, obviously, it's St. John Vianney and everybody else. There is a second tier. St.
Mhm.
Rose and RBC are second tier. Um, like you said, Rumson, Trinity,
And Manasquan.
and Manasquan. And I think this year, before the top three, you have teams that can beat. If you have Ocean seeded 8 or 9, if you have Shore seeded 8, 9, 10, 7, somewhere in that range, those are
Mm-hmm.
games that they're going to give in the quarterfinal round.
Tough.
They're going to get tested, but they get through that.
Hmm.
Anything goes. They're teams that can hang.
Yeah. The next game, unfortunately, my back was starting to act up, and we left at halftime. Notre Dame played Donovan.
Donovan Catholic, yeah.
Um, sorry, don't know much about Notre Dame.
70-53 was the
Yeah.
final. Um,
I know Gabby
Notre
won MVP.
MVP. And Notre Dame, first time seeing them, we know they're a well coached team.
Yeah.
They passed the ball very well, and they looked pretty good. I don't know where they sit rankings wise in their conference, but they're a pretty tough team. Tough matchup for Donovan
Yeah.
because uh, you have Gabby, you have a couple other kids, but it's a tough year for Coach Jansen.
Yeah, and we were behind the bench. He was, when they do something right, he was getting, say, look, that's what I just said out of the timeout. You guys did it, and it led to a, 3-pointer by one of the role players. So,
Yeah.
he's working
He's
with this
coaching his
team.
butt off is what he's doing. He's coaching his
Yeah,
butt off. He's earning his money, and
yeah.
it's tough, but he's trying to stay as patient as he can, knowing
Hmm.
it's going to be a tough year. And but you're right. We sat there. He was every time out. He's coaching and encouraging,
Okay.
um, and trying to keep these kids positive. But Notre Dame's a pretty tough team. Tough
Yeah,
matchup.
yeah. Next game was Trinity Hall and Rainey, and yeah, it was going to be a tough game no matter what for Rainey with Sarah Hughes out with an injury. Unsure how long she is out for, but their senior leader um, was playing pretty good for them. Had a great season last year for them.
Yeah.
So you're missing her. You're hurting. You're
Right.
going against the number 14 in Assure and
Mhm.
Nina. Like you said earlier, one of the best players in Assure drops 24. Right, I think she had
Right.
24.
Yeah.
Um, and he's been going to the bench, getting he's got a couple good freshmen, and getting them important minutes. Coach McCarthy, and it was just just bad time for Rainey, with what they're going through right now.
Yeah. Tough time to catch Trinity. Trinity's on a roll.
Yeah, yeah, they've been on a roll
And
since the season started.
yeah, yeah. And you know, what do you say? I mean, you got Nina's going to score her points. The Stapleton sisters are going to play well. The guards, I mean, they're just a very, very well put together team. Um, and Poser at 17 for Ranny. She stepped up.
Yeah.
She's
She's
been
having a
playing
great
well
season.
anyway, but she's had to step up more since Hughes went out, and she's
Yeah,
been playing very well.
yeah, and I don't know, but just based off the scorebook, it looks like it was only 5 players listed for Rainey. So,
Yeah, I don't know how
uh,
deep they went on the bench.
yeah, I don't
So
know. It's always tough with them too because they don't really input everything.
no, no.
So, yeah, it was tough. Last game, Wall and RBR, Red Bank Regional, rematch at WOBM. Um, Cam Gardner out, unsure how long.
Ankle injury again. Yeah,
Yeah, injured it against
unfortunately.
RBC. The answer I get from JT is I go, how long is she out? All season, and then a week. So,
Yeah,
and that's all in one sentence. So I don't know. Hopefully it is not all season because she's just been doing everything for that team,
yeah.
rebounding, blocking shots, passing the ball. Her scoring numbers aren't the highest, but the other players' scoring numbers would be much lower if it wasn't for the stuff she does on the
Correct.
court. But they were able to win. Um, Talking to Colleen, Coach Wisher at Wall, it seems like defense is the issue right now over there. She's
Mhm.
not happy with the way the team's been playing defense lately, or probably most of the season. So that's what they're working on.
But
I don't know.
they're big two offensively yesterday. 25 for Tverdik and 15 for Eldridge. So
That's
they're
what,
getting the points. Yeah, I guess
yeah, that's what we expect.
tighten
40,
up the yeah,
40. I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, I just know there was one game last week or the week before expressed her
Took them all out,
frustration.
right? Yeah,
She expressed her
yeah.
frustration to me about the defensive play and
Mhm.
expressed it to the team. So, um, but it's hard. They got three basketball players that's what they do, and then
Right.
you got soccer, lacrosse. People that just pick up the ball, like you said, November to February. But they gave RBR. They lost by 5. Josie had another good.
Big
You
game.
have her totals?
Yeah.
Do you have her
I
total?
think she had 23, but let me
Okay.
check that real quick. Um, 23 and 9. Yeah.
Yeah. So she continues to lead the way. Um,
And I think Coach Wisher has mentioned to you she feels like she's one player away.
yeah,
One where these close games could go the other
yeah,
way.
yeah,
Yeah, so you never know.
yeah. Just pull. I think RBR has a tough. I don't
I think RBR's schedule this week sets up.
know.
They should win 3
Yeah,
games this week. That
yeah,
Central game will be a little tough, but um,
yeah, yeah. It's a little bit of a break. They don't have
Middletown North maybe. Can't remember
Central.
the schedule. I looked.
I just texted
Central
them. Middletown
Central's
North,
next
Central,
Saturday.
and there's
Yeah,
somebody in the middle. I just X out.
right.
They should get 3 wins. Uh, One other, there was a lot of games going on. Rumson. I don't know where that event was,
I
but
don't
they
know either.
High Point High School. I think it was High Point High School.
Okay. Yep. All right.
Another first of all, the event at Donovan was for cancer. All the money that was concession entry shirts they were selling was donated, and Glenn does a good job with that. And I believe this event was also for cancer. Um, they played Franklin, who is not the Franklin of old, but they're still a
Right.
good team, and Robinson went up there, hard fought game. Raquel, I saw Raquel. I think she had 17 points
17 points. Yeah.
and one
MVP.
player of the game. Yeah, if she continues because she's been playing good, you know, it seems like she's a lot more comfortable than earlier in the season.
Mhm.
When we saw them against St. Rose, and that just takes a little bit off. And we know how Julia could just turn it on whenever she wants out
Right.
there. So and they got options, offense. They just Dave always puts together a hard schedule
Tough schedule. Tough
that
schedule.
pays gonna pay dividends come postseason.
For
You
sure,
know,
conference tournament time, state
yeah,
time. Always does.
yeah,
Um, and then you had the I think the upset of the week yesterday, which kind of when you told me that I was like, whoa, Middletown South going
yep,
into Howell and beating
yeah.
them.
I actually was home. Middletown South was home.
Oh,
But
they were home. Oh yeah, right, okay.
but they did not look that great. WOBM. They did give Thomas River North a very good game and a couple phantom calls there. But Cassidy Brown, I think that was her first game back was against Thomas River
Mhm.
North. So she was injured to start the season or sick. I don't know, but she missed the first couple of games, and now it seems like she's getting more comfortable. Erin Mayhofer,
Hmm.
she had 19, and I saw at the WOBM she could shoot. You
Yeah,
cannot leave. You
no
cannot
doubt.
leave her. Just like her sister, can't leave her open.
Hmm.
And she had 7 rebounds yesterday. Cassidy had 12 points. Um, they led the way. A couple other twos and threes, but yeah, thought they would. This is a team I thought they would be a team that compete with Howell and
Hmm.
those teams, and tough loss for Howell. They lost to Trinity last week or the week before.
Right.
They're gonna have that rematch, I think, in 2 weeks, and 54-28. That's a tough
That's
loss.
yeah, that's a tough loss. Not a
Uh,
close one.
yeah. Yeah. Kerry Di Stefano, showing 3 points. Your senior, she's
Hmm.
been leading away for them. So didn't see the game, so don't know what kind of defense. But obviously, Middletown South,
That's a
big
pretty
win.
big point disparity. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's big. So yeah, that might be putting them in the right direction. And
Hmm.
interesting. I don't know if you saw at the WOBM. Coach Brennan retired, but he is an assistant coach.
Unretired, his
He's
assistant on the
assistant.
bench,
He was on the
which is
bench.
it's great to see.
Yeah.
Tom's a short conference veteran, love the
Uh-huh.
guy, great coach.
Mhm.
Um, I spoke to him at the end of last season, and he's his he's been there a long time. Uh, his daughter was at Jefferson no, Jefferson
No,
University, no, the University of
sciences.
Sciences in
They
Philly.
eliminated.
Was playing great, and all of a sudden they eliminated the athletic program, merged with St. Joseph's University, and the end of her career. So he wanted to retire to go watch her senior year and her play. He doesn't get to see her play. He's coaching all year,
Hmm.
and he wants to go watch her play,
You know.
and then all of a sudden the program's gone, and I
Hmm.
guess he decided, hey, I'll just go back
Help
and
out.
work with the program, and good for him. Like Tom's a great guy, and good to see him back on the bench.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, I just go through the divisions real quick where everybody stands. A North, Trinity's on top. They're 13-1 overall, but 4-0 in the division.
Mm,
Howell's 3-1, one loss to Trinity.
Trinity.
They did beat Marlboro. Marlboro's 2-2. They have their rematch with Trinity on Tuesday, I think. I think it's Tuesday. Um, Freehold, they're 1-3. They're 4-5. Gabby Parker, who was one of the leading scorers in soccer 2 years ago as a freshman, she's having a phenomenal season,
Hmm.
leading the way for Freehold. And Manalapan, they're 0-4, 3-8. Coach Rogers, first year coach, a couple seniors, couple young kids. So hopefully he can keep developing the young kids and, build that program. I don't remember Manalapan ever being a strong basketball program, though, on the girls' side.
No, they've had some decent players.
I know soccer, they're always
Overall, as
strong, but
overall as a program, not. It's been a long time if
yeah,
they've, you know. But I don't see Trinity losing to Marlboro this week. I don't see Trinity losing to Howell. They're
no,
probably going to
not at
go
all.
undefeated in
In A North.
their division. So unless they trip up and absolutely fall on their face, I don't see that
Yeah,
happening.
I don't see Matt again having that, what his coaching. A Central, St. John Vianney. Um, don't really need to talk about
Right.
that, but Homedale 4-1. They're clearly the second best team. Long Branch has been having a good season, 3-2. They wouldn't go away till late yesterday against Ocean. They played Ocean yesterday.
Right.
I think Ocean got out to, it might have been a double digit lead. I didn't, from what I was told. And then Long Branch fought back, but Ocean, was able to take care of it. Raritan 2-3, Freehold Borough 1-4, and Manawan 0-5, winless. Manawan does play Lakewood this week, so
Okay.
somebody will be picking up
Somebody's
their
going to get a win.
Somebody will get their win.
And
A
again,
South. Oh,
I
yeah.
don't see Vianney. They beat Homedale by 60 the other day or whatever it was. So, um, yeah, that's another division that's over.
Yeah. A South, which probably not over. Tom's River
No.
North 5-0. They're looking good. Megan's looking better and better
Hmm.
every game. They're 5-0. Jackson Memorial 4-1. Let me get you that rematch.
It's coming up
The
soon.
19th. The
Yep.
19th. Oh, I missed that one. I was doing.
Which is this Thursday? Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
And that's
I guess
at North, I believe. So,
yeah.
um,
So I know where I'll be
yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah.
4-1. Tom's River East 3-2. They're always never really have the basketball stars, but they compete and
Yep.
they're well coached and they always play hard defense. Always. Brick Memorial, surprisingly,
Yeah. A couple
two
of
and
big
three,
wins last week. Yeah.
2-3, 4-8 on the season. Sitting, mid. Southern 1-4 and Tom's River South 0-5. So Thursday we'll decide what is going on with that division.
Yes.
B North, RBC 5-0, 5-0. Rumson 4-1. I think they play this week. Let me
Yeah.
see.
Their second game should be coming up soon.
Oh no, they don't play this week. The 26th.
Next week?
I thought they played
Yeah,
this
it'll
week.
be next week.
Sorry. Um, so RBC 5-0, Rumson 4-1. Um, I don't know. I just see RBC, with the freshmen. There's probably a little too much. But Rumson's, clearly the second best team in that division.
Yes.
RBR's 3-2. Middletown South picked up their second win. Well, no,
Hmm.
Howell's not in the division, which
No.
is
Right.
mind blowing that they're not in the Howell's division anymore. Colts Neck 1-4, Middletown North 0-5, and we probably won't see them winning a division game.
Right.
Is my thing. B South, which is interesting. Central 5, like we talked about. We can just go through that one quick. Central 5-0, Manchester 4-1. When is that matchup? The rematch.
They just played last week, I
Oh,
think. So
they
maybe a
play
week
the
or so.
19th. No, they play the
Oh, they do
19th.
this week, this Thursday
Yeah,
again too. Two big
6:30
games.
at
Okay.
Central. So if Manchester, watch some film, see what happened. Did they play already?
Can't. I think they did play already.
Manchester. They played before the WOBM.
Yeah.
Okay. 2-point game.
Hmm.
Manchester lost by 2. So they were right there. So, they could, end up tying for the division or, I mean, really anything can happen in that division because Barnegat could end up beating one of them and giving them another, say
Right. Yeah, I
Manchester
wouldn't
win,
count Barnegat out just yet.
Manchester wins and then Central has one loss and then Barnegat might be able to, you never know. So that division
And
is
listen, I
not
wouldn't be
decided.
surprised if Lacey pulls a
One of
game.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, them
So
they're 2-3 too with Barnegat and Brick 1-3 and Pinelands 0-4. Um, B Central, Point Beach 4-0, Kingsburg 3-1. Did they play yet? But I don't. Point Beach is probably gonna come on.
Kingsburg's been playing pretty good as of late, but yeah, I think
Yeah, and
Point
they have
Beach
a
does too
balance of,
much.
Lindsay Rivera's been playing very
Hmm.
good, senior, and
Very
they have.
well.
Come on, why aren't we loading? Keyport's 2-2.
Keyport's been playing okay too.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't. Maybe one of those teams can pull an upset on Beach, and
it's not loading. Um, and just shout Keyport. Their senior leader, Isabella Bednar's, just she is going to be playing soccer at Stockton. So, but she leads them in scoring, rebounding. So what am I looking for? Point Beach. They
that
played
they play
Point Beach
Kingsburg.
the 10th. Point Beach won 42-36. So it was a
Okay,
competitive game.
close game.
So
Yeah, yeah.
so that division still up in there. But yeah, Keyport 2-2. Henry Hudson 1-3. Asbury 0-4. C North, St. Rose 5-0. Manasquan 4-1. They play Friday night.
Friday night.
Um, Let me ask you this: Manasquan, if Manasquan wins, you still got to seed St. Rose 3, I think, in the Shore.
If St. Rose beat Manasquan already, right?
Yes. So if there'd be
Okay,
1-1,
so
I just think St.
yes,
Rose
I
got the
still
better
think they're a
wins.
better team. Yeah,
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 they got
yeah.
the
I
better wins.
still think, yeah.
Okay. So that'll determine the division on Friday night. Rainy 3-2, Wall 2-3, Neptune 1-4, Point Pleasant Borough 0-5. So Neptune, Krista Ramos having a great season for Neptune. Sophomore,
Yeah,
transfer from St. Rose.
yeah,
Now, the division that is totally up in the air.
yeah.
C South,
C South.
Ocean, Monmouth, and Shore, all 4-1. All got to play each other again. They all somebody each beat. Nobody has Shore beat Ocean, Ocean beat Monmouth, Monmouth beat Shore. So
Month
that's a whole
short,
mix.
right?
Um, Donovan's sitting 2-3, and Jackson Liberty's 1-4, and Lakewood 0-5.
Yeah, I think
So
it now. You mentioned the injury to Mia. I think
yeah,
it's now a 2-horse race.
yes,
Um, and the next game will be at Ocean. Do you have the
yeah,
date of that one?
and hopefully
It's probably in a week or two
hopefully
because they just played.
Ocean could get a student section out there because Shore supports their team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the 31st.
Okay.
End of month. And Ocean has they got a tough one on Saturday, Cherokee.
Yes. Yep.
So
Cherokee's a tough team.
that's gonna be a nice challenge for Ocean
Mhm.
because Cherokee plays defense.
Yes, they do.
So so and I think Shore has an interesting matchup in Clearview.
Yep.
That event. And Manasquan plays Shawnee, I believe.
Correct. It should be a tough. That'd be a
That
tough game.
that yeah, that'll
Yeah.
be a big good game too.
You know
So
those South Jersey teams don't score much, but they play really
like
good
yeah,
defense.
yeah, and they play team basketball down there.
Yes. Yep.
Um, so um tomorrow you'll on the Shore Sports Network you'll see our matchups of the week. Probably top 10 tomorrow.
Hmm.
Tuesday players of the week. And is there anything else? Probably team of the week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday as well.
Yep.
Anything else, Doug, do you want to add?
How about some milestones? Coach Montana won his 500th game.
700?
Uh, 700th game last week.
Yep.
Yes, 500. He's been there forever. 700. Boschman at Manchester is one away from 200 for his
Okay.
career. We had a couple thousand point scorers over the last couple of weeks. I know at
Yeah.
least Devin Quigley and
Devin?
Gabby Ross.
Gabby Ross. Yeah.
Um,
And Devin Quigley set in WOBM record for single game points and I think tournament. Well,
I
tournament
think
might be tough
overall,
because there's one
what's
because there
crazy
was
because
one
they
less.
lost a game this year.
So I don't know.
Usually it's
Maybe the
4 games.
tournaments. I'll have to clarify. Get
Well, what's the average? 44? You never
yeah.
know.
Yeah. She scored
So,
47 the
yeah,
last game in the WOBM. So
yeah.
so but congratulations to Gabby and Devin
Hmm.
on that and yeah, any other milestones, coaches or parents, please
Yeah,
reach
hit us
out.
up.
So, because we like to try to at least get there if it's 1,000 point, over any type of milestone. So,
And, again, going out to a lot more games this year, trying to at least, and meeting a lot of great people, a lot
yeah,
of parents coming up to us. They
yeah,
appreciate what we're doing. And listen, I enjoy doing it. Nick enjoys doing it. I'm glad we're able to do it
hmm
and get more of a platform with Shore Sports Network this year. So keep coming up, introducing yourself. It's nice. Some of you follow us on Twitter, but we don't know you. Introduce yourself so we can at least put a face to the little picture on Twitter.
yeah, and thank you, Surf Taco. Last week Ocean
Yeah,
won team of the week. Thank you, Surf Taco, for that, and thank you, the Causeway dealerships, for giving us this platform to get
yeah.
recognize these girls. Oh, we forgot. Congratulations, Point Beach, Lauren Case,
Yes,
for
Lauren Case.
she won Player of the Week last week.
Yes,
In the
fan
fan,
voting.
So if people didn't see, it was Zoe from A Central, Nina from Trinity Hall, from A North, A South,
Megan Sias, I believe,
Megan
is A
Sias from
South.
A South. B Central was obviously Lauren, right?
Yep.
Is that Central? Yeah.
Yep.
Or was that
B
North?
South was no, nope.
B North.
Point Beach is Central.
Okay.
Quigley was B South.
Mm-hmm.
B North, I believe, was Julia Corsentino.
Yes.
C North was Jada Lynch.
No, not last week, was it?
Yeah, I believe she was
Oh.
Player of the Week last week also.
Oh, it just slipped.
I know, surprise.
Surprise.
And then
And
C South was
Clark,
yep,
um,
yep,
which had a
Kelly
great
Clark.
game, scoring 30 points, career high
Yeah,
against Manchester last week.
against
Congratulations.
Manchester. So our next round of players will be out Tuesday, like Nick said. Make
Mhm.
sure you get your school, your team, your
Yeah,
community
vote.
to vote, and
Yeah,
because it's based, we pick the players of the week in the division,
yeah.
fan voting for the overall, and
Player
so let's get these get
kids,
the
right?
votes up.
Yes, yeah. But congratulations, to Lauren, who had which
Yeah,
averaged 12 points. Let's see, 12 points a
she
game that
averaged
week.
11 on the year with 12 that week.
Don't we? So
Yeah.
great, and she's only a junior.
Yes, only a
Okay,
junior.
okay. So congratulations, yeah, helping
And Ocean obviously was our team of the week
Yes,
last
yeah,
week. So yeah,
yes. Um, so they can have a nice dinner before the night before their rematch against Shore.
I'm sure Shore would love them to do that.
Uh-huh. Oh, bonding. I don't know. I'm sure Ocean will be motivated. So, anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right, guys. We'll see you. We'll probably be in the South Jersey event for a little while on Saturday. Thursday, probably Thomas River North for Jackson.
Friday
Friday,
will be St. Rose
St.
and
Rose,
Swan.
and Tuesday. I don't know if I'll be at any games Tuesday. Wednesday, there's not much going. I don't think. I think there's only one game on Wednesday, maybe two. But
And tomorrow's games, like not many because of the holiday, but I think there's a couple early games.
yeah,
So
St. John Vianney's playing at 9 o'clock up in Massachusetts. They're probably
mhm.
sleeping right now or getting ready to get ready. And I know Lenape is playing St. Rose at 2. That wasn't even on NJ.com, so I don't apologize if there's games. If people picked up games and it wasn't on the
Right,
website, but that was the only two shore games tomorrow. So good luck to St. John Vianney and St. Rose. So,
keep it going.
all right, everybody. Have a good night.
Yeah, thanks. Have a good week. We'll see you around.